It's always a homicide when you remove a water pump. Well, on the old 29 here, Chevy, 1.5 ton truck, and went out to take it to a cruising. Gosh, this must have been a week and a half ago, and went out, fired it up, and coolant spewing out of the water pump everywhere. The water pump bearings making a hideous noise. So she shot 1929. Unfortunately, I think the warranty is up on this one. But got the pump out of there. And of course, there's coolant everywhere. Great. I tried to catch it as much as I could, but you know how that goes. But mainly, I just wanted to show this thing because, you know, only so many people are going to see it in person. I think it's a great truck. So what we got here is, I don't remember the cubic inch, but it's the Big Six. The first year for the Big Six, 1929, this engine came out. And, well, it was the first year that Chevy had a big enough truck to make a fire engine or school bus or what have you. And that was the first year for that 6-cylinder. I believe it's the first year for this 4-speed too, which is grainy first gear, of course, very lowly geared. Um, so yeah, and so the carburetor on this thing is, they snapped the inlet. They broke the inlet on this thing. I don't know if you can see it, but it's JB welded to hell. And the guy before me that rebuilt the carb, I'm sure he did, but must have dropped it or something. And they tried to JB weld it, and let's just say that leaked. So I did the right thing and ground off the JB weld and re-JB welded it. Now it currently does not leak. And then because of that, because I JB welded this fitting in here, I can't use the stock glass sediment bowl. So I just jammed this filter on there for now just to get her going. I did order a carburetor. We do have the correct carburetor to put on here to replace this one. Though it runs so good, I really don't want to take it apart. So it's just been like this for a long time. That filter looks like shit. And then I haven't really done anything to get it going other than that. And I cleaned all the spark plugs. I didn't even replace them. And then I didn't do much else. We fixed the carburetor inlet with JB Weld, and we cleaned the spark plugs. That's it, running wise. Yeah. We cleaned the carburetor out. I took the top off and stuff, but I'm thinking about taking the carb. We took the carb off actually. We cleaned it all out when we were doing the inlet, not the sediment bowl. But other than that, it's all original. Besides the addition of, I added fuses for all the accessories down in here because they all need rewired anyways. So now, like, every light on this thing you see is functional, which is really cool. Everything functions. It's great. I like it. So your searchlight up here works, and you can move it up or down, side to side. Your strobes work. Your aftermarket, more modern light up there that the last owner added, and the original strobe on the siren works. How cool is that? Pretty neat. It's a little squeaky, but it works great. We turn that on for parades and stuff, especially parades that are at night. And your red cow light is also functional. So that's neat. I'll shut the lights off in a minute. We'll turn this stuff on. This is your dash light. This is how you see your gauges on this one. And I did do these labels for future reference for other people. I mean, I at this point know what they do, but because I've driven the thing 500 times because I love driving it. It gets in every parade I can get it in pretty much. So then you got the left spotlight on the left side of the truck. It's switched right by the driver. One right by the driver. It's right there. And it, same thing. It can go up and down, side to side. Side to side action on this one's not quite as good, but it does move. It just doesn't move as much because of the way it's set up. And it has, a little mirror on the back, which is completely useless because the ladder blocks it, so you see nothing. But yeah, so all that works. The only light on the truck that doesn't work, but did, and I'm going to fix it, it will work again, is this light back here, which is your rear spotlight. And it did work. The bulb fell out and the ground broke right there. It was hooked up right there. So I'm going to fix that. I did run the power wire. I did the power wire, and I need to cut these zip ties. I'm probably going to take the zip ties off and try to do something more period correct looking. But yeah, I didn't do anything with the ground, and the ground broke. So I'm going to go ahead and fix the ground. It won't take long, and I'll put the bulb back in. I don't know how that fell out. I don't know. Like I said, this thing gets driven a lot down the road because it's fun to drive. So I can't wait to drive it again. There's the butterfly hood, which has got really nice patinaed, hand-painted lettering, which I really love. It's one of my favorite parts of the truck, and it's patina. And this whole truck is all original. Besides, it's definitely been painted before, but a long time ago. It's at least a 30-year-old paint job, probably older than that. So this one was welded really boogered up like back on. It originally probably was welded on, but I don't know that it would have been that boogered. And it's missing weld here, which I've left because this is fine. It's not going anywhere. This up here would have screwed in. This one would have been welded. But yeah. This one right here is actually screwed in. And the bottom is welded because it was not attached at all. And what I did is I welded it, and I made the weld look like shit on purpose because I wanted it to match the other side. And I think I did a good job, don't you? I was trying to make it look like the same guy welded it, and I think I achieved my goal. Looks like crap. Perfect. I wanted it to be symmetrical. I actually did do that on purpose, by the way. I turned the heat a little lower than it should have been, and the wire speed I played with until it looked like shit. But it was still penetrating just enough to hold it on there. And if it comes off, I'll just re-weld it. But I wanted that crappy look, that old crappy look, like somebody just hacked it together, because that's what the other side is. I just wanted it to match, so I don't have to redo the other side. So now we're going to talk about the equipment on the truck, which a lot of it is, original to the truck, and some of it's more modern stuff. So we'll start on the tank. Well, let's talk about the gas tank first. Here's the gas tank of this beautiful beast. And I don't know what it is. It's like 20 gallons or something. But my favorite part is this is your gas gauge. Just your glass sight with the visible fuel level right there. That's how high up in the tank it is right now. It's right there. And then I like it. It's cool. So that's one of my favorite features of the entire truck right there. And this tank, I didn't line it. I didn't take it off. Nothing like that. All we did is I literally put some gas in there. Literally shook the truck like this. And to slosh it all over the place, drained out the tank, did that over and over again like 5 times of like 5 gallons of gas each time. And then eventually I got it clean on the bottom, which is what I was worried about because that's where the pickup is. And now I've ran a couple tanks through it and it's completely clean now, but our filter not so much. The right thing would have been, to take it off, clean it out, put it back on. No, I just did it on the truck. So there's that. I guess we'll now talk about one of the fun parts of the truck, which of course everyone asks about. Does it have a horn? Well, of course it has a horn. There it is right there. You can see it. And then I get asked this frequently, especially from kids. What about a siren? Because every fire truck needs a siren. That works too. And it'll wind up louder than that. I just don't want to wind it all the way up because it's night. And the neighbors probably didn't even like that. But the other thing is fire truck of this vintage. Some people expect it to have something a little more old school than a siren. So, of course, we got the period correct brass bell. So, yeah. All of your devices for letting traffic know, get out of the way, a guy's coming through. Yeah. And, of course, this has no synchros, so you are double clutching this thing, by the way. And a lot of people get this confused. This is handbrake, which most people probably know that. Really probably should be on now. Since we're not driving the truck. It is on flat ground though, so we're good. And to be fair, it's not going to roll over my lift either. Trust me, it's on flat ground with that lift there. That's like a big wheel truck. It's not going over that. It's so heavy. But a lot of people get this messed up because they think it's opposite of what it is. But only like 3 people ever drive this thing. It's always the same people. I let friends play with it a little sometimes, but they usually don't ever get out of first gear because they're afraid to. But this right here, starter. Big one is starter. Small one is gas. Opposite of what you would think. Big one starter, small one gas, and of course your brake and your clutch. And up here we come up and sit up here. Of course you got your key. This says gasoline, but this is actually your water tank level. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, water tank level. That's your water temperature gauge for your engine. That's your amp meter. This is your oil pressure. And then you got your, I think it's, no, I don't think there's really a speedometer, just an odometer here. It's really it, pretty simple. Your dimmer switch, of course, is right here next to your siren. Don't mix them up. You really can't. This siren switch is really heavy. The dimmer switch is really soft and easy. This is really freaking... You really have to muscle it down. See, I'm pushing on it now. It's doing nothing. You have to really muscle it. Like you mean it. And then this is your PTO to operate your pump. That's another thing. The pump does pump. A lot of people ask, does it pump water? Of course it does. I just don't pump water with it because it's an antique and I don't need to put out a fire. But if I did need to put out a fire, I could. It's just illegal to hook up to a fire hydrant, so I'd have to use a lake or something. So yeah, and then we'll use, on your valves for your pump. I don't even know how to run it. That's the other thing. I'd have to get a firefighter because I'm not one. But same lever over here. These are your valves for your pump. You got your gauges, which are really cool, original gauges. These are the hoses you would actually run from the truck to the hydrant, although they're now basically pipes. You can pick them up and they don't flex whatsoever because they're so old. And there would have been a stack of 4 of these. There's only 2 left, but there would have been 2 more on top of this. And that's decals from a previous owner. It did say Shoals Fire Department, but it's not from Shoals. Sorry to burst your bubble. That was just thrown on for a parade real quick. Just vinyl letters. And it's had multiple names, so we have no documentation on the origin of this truck. And you got some labeling by a previous guy that probably ran this and knew how, but I don't. You got more levers down here that basically tell you how to run the pump. Basically, that's part of how you run the pump, but I don't really know what any of this shit does, and I don't need to put out a fire, so I'm good. And we really probably have too many axes on this truck. Somebody mentioned it. But, and funny story, I actually drove this to high school senior year, and yep, all those axes were right there, and it was mentioned later, did you drive that truck to school full of those axes there? Yes, I did. And did anyone say anything about it? Nope. Probably because they're on a fire engine. And this has nothing to do with the truck. It's just an antique oil can, and we thought it would look cool to fill that space because we don't have what would originally went there, which we're pretty sure would have been some sort of fire extinguisher. This is your strainer. You would unscrew this from the truck. If I can get it to unscrew from the truck one-handed. It doesn't get unscrewed very often. Yeah, there we go. And it's quite, it's got some weight to it. It's a decent, hefty boy. But anyways, you screw this on the end of one of your inlet hoses, which is what these big rubber hoses I showed you are. And they're massive. They've got to be, 14 feet long or something. But it screws on the end of that, and you can throw that in your pond or lake and pull water from there. So this keeps shit from getting in your pump, ruining your pump on your fire engine, because you can't have that. You can't let that happen. And I'm not a fan of the little Chevy emblem that some previous owner put on the lens that I'm pretty sure is not original. But this is the taillight to the truck. And yes, taillight. There's only one. One taillight, one brake light right there. That says stop. Because the guy's stopping when that light's up. And I think also they had a way to turn this on. And the truck's on the side of the road putting out a fire. So it would stay on. So people would stop. But the other thing is back in here. Let me move the butterfly hood out of the way. back in the back here, we got a compartment on the back of the truck that mounts the license plate, but that's not just it. Also, houses a few nozzles, a modern nozzle and some antique nozzles that are stacked up right here in a row. They're on a row because I had them as beads way down at 10 at one point, easy up. And we also got a couple tools, and these tools are for tightening things. So like that, you use them like this, just like that. And they have different sizes. They have this one, they have that one, and there probably would have been these. Really, I don't even think are the right sizes. This might be this is the right size for this. Okay, cool. So this is how this operates. I do know this. That's all it is. Boom. Now you can hook your hose up there. Put that back on real quick. So we're not putting out a fire. We don't really need that off. But yeah. Of course, you got your grease zerks for your leaf springs. Everything on this truck gets greased, like every year or so. I did add a little license plate illuminating light, and that's what's sticking through there with the wire, as that illuminates our license plate down there. That's not factory. You would not have had one at all. But I thought the cops would like that, so I did that. And here's your other types of nozzles. These unscrew from the truck the same way as the strainer does. Screw on your hose, which would be your soft hose you would use on these. This is another big, long nozzle. And then here's your soft hose right here that is actually too small for this truck, and it's off a more modern truck. But it's here. It's better than no hose. And then your brass fire extinguisher. You can't not have that. This is your toolbox, which there's a couple little tools in there. Again, just more fittings for your hoses. This is to go from the big hose to the small hose if you had to, or fire hydrant adapter for a smaller hose than the fire hydrant or whatever, And then, of course, these, you don't need a tool. You just grab and turn. But I'm not going to worry about that now. This paint's all eaten up because this guy was leaking when I got the truck. Doesn't leak gas anymore. Used to. And in here, we have the registration right there. And wheel chalk, tire iron, just some modern fire extinguisher. So we always have capacity to put out a fire if need be. That's really it. That's the truck. Of course, you got your wooden ladder, which isn't the vintage, but it is a wooden ladder. So it's better than no ladder. It's just not really the correct ladder, but we don't care. We're still having fun. And of course, you got, kitty fire hats for when we give kids rides. And those kind of hang out right here on the tank for the kids. And then we got some adult sized, real fire hats, which are modern ones, but, most people don't know the difference nowadays. But back then, they actually wore leather fire hats. They were leather, and they had full-on leather suits, and they actually looked really cool. I wouldn't mind getting one of those uniforms someday for fun. Of course, in 1929, when you're going to fight the fire, you want to be able to see, right? So you bring your own fire with you. Right there. These bad boys are right there on the truck, ready to go. You just come over here, grab your lantern, bring it down and light it and go. And then, break your non-original lantern. Try and show it off. Okay. That's fine. We'll put it back up in here. Let's put that back on. Boom. Ready to go. Ready to go back to the fire station. Alright. It's really it on this truck. Of course, you got your wooden bed floor. There's a lot of wood on this. So this is the 1.5 ton Chevy truck chassis that you would buy, or a company would buy from General Motors. It was usually companies, and they made them into all kinds of stuff. These things came with literally they were engine drivetrain, your radiator shell, all that, your hood, this cow, and then it stops after this cow, right? It would stop right here after this cow. Right here's where it would stop. And that's the part that Chevy made. Everything, these fenders, this running board, all this is Chevy. But where it stops for Chevy is right here. It stops right here for Chevy. It stops like right here on the truck behind the tire. And it would have just been this. And then the rest would have been a frame. And they did the little running boards and the fenders, and other than that, it was just a frame. I'll show you the ad in another video later on, but for buying the chassis, which would have set you back in 1929 to buy this chassis running and driving as just the chassis. $545 is what they cost. So the rims are split rims, but they're not the kill you kind. So to put tires on this bad boy, this actually comes in on itself. You take this center section out, and this comes in on itself. So that's why that splits there, because this comes in on itself. There's a tool that pulls this in. It goes across from here to here, and it pulls that in, and then you can get your tire off, because it effectively makes the circle smaller. And all four wheels are like that. The fronts are not as wide as the back, but we're going to show you how big the tires are on this thing. There's my foot for comparison width-wise. And for 29, that's a wide tire. Your Model Ts are nowhere near that wide. Your Model Ts are like this. Your Model Ts are just like this wide. And this is that wide. So it's a wide tire for 29. Tall, too. They're like 30, 2s or something. The back's even taller and even wider. That's a big meat. So, put my foot up there. Big meats. Anyways, there's your tires. They really covered everything on this truck. I don't know what this held. Again, some things are unknown about the truck still. I don't know what they would have clamped in this, but I'm sure it had a purpose. As far as going to the fire, the back of the truck would have been stacked full of hose. That campus hose would have been stacked all the way up to like here in the back of this truck when it was used as a fire truck. So the guys would, they'd ride. That's what these bars are for. They'd ride up here on the back of the truck, and they'd hold on up here and right here. And they'd just ride on the back, and they'd hang on the side of the thing on the running boards too. Wherever. It's That's why it's got this handle. It is to help you in, but also it's for the guy that's riding right here. You can hold on here, and you can hold on here, and the guy can ride on the running board. I gotta make a new thing to hold this fender up, so we're just not stepping on the fender right now. It's got nothing supporting it there. I gotta make a new support because it's missing. Same thing on the side. You got the same handle going on, but you don't have that one. Interesting. I wonder if it's missing. And your valves for your pump. Again, more valves. Just a cool piece. I'm glad we got the thing. And this one originated from the Prospect Fire Engine Company of Ohio, converted this thing to a fire engine from a chassis. And it's just really cool. So before this, like I said, Chevy didn't have a drivetrain and a chassis strong enough to do a platform like a school bus or fire engine or anything like that. Anything big. These were used as dump trucks. They were used as school buses. They were used as all kinds of crap. These were the big rigs of their day. So these were the semis. And these are the trucks that built this country effectively in the 20s and 30s. The predecessor to this would have been fire engines would have been made out of like Duesenberg chassis with the big, huge 8-cylinder engines and 12 cylinders and stuff like that. Before this, that's what the fire engines were. They were all big luxury car powered chassis. But this brought a new era to, Chevy and Ford was starting to get into, I think Chevy's one of the first, but Ford was starting to get into this too. They were doing stuff too with big trucks. And it really kicked off the big truck thing for just normal American manufacturers that didn't really, before fire engines were always custom chassis. And now they could just go buy a chassis from General Motors, Chevy, and throw whatever they wanted on it. I mean, there's a lot of, you see pictures of these fire engines or you see them in person, these Chevy ones from the 20s. With this exact chassis, and they're all slightly different because every builder, every department wanted something different to suit their needs. So it's just really cool how they did things back in the day. It's a great old truck, and I plan to just keep it on the road forever, pretty much. It's not going to get to die. I'm not going to let it. That's why it's getting a water pump, which will get flat black because we think it'll be the least noticeable, and we don't want a shiny new water pump on this thing. We want it to be as patinaed as possible. Reason I chose flat black is the fan's already flat black, so I'm thinking that'll work out all right. I don't think it'll be noticeable. But yeah, it's a 29 fire engine. And, I did make this bracket for the siren. This siren is off a 50s truck because over the years, different departments got this thing, and they probably put, this could be 40s too. It's 40s or 50s. But, they probably eventually by 50s, these a lot of times were still in service. It was just like volunteer fire departments got them as hand-me-downs or whatever, and they would use some modern equipment on them, and they would upfit them with modern sirens, modern pumps and stuff. But this one's pretty much untouched besides the siren. This one, the siren, definitely was added on later. May have been even way after this thing stopped being in service. It could have been the guy I got it from, for all I know. Fortunately, the owner passed away, and I got it from his son or his grandson. So I didn't really know the guy that actually owned it, but I knew the guy that inherited it and basically sold it immediately and regretted it. Which is why, if I sell it, he'll know first. So, yep. It was mounted, just this bolt back here, this back bolt was mounted up here, and the thing was way out here, and the lens was busted. And so, what I did is what any good thinking man would do that works on stuff. I made a bracket. Since the hole was already drilled here, I said, hey, let's just take a plate, drill a hole in it, put a bolt there. Well, now how am I going to support the back of the plate that holds the siren? Oh, well, let's make it an L bracket, so we'll just weld a little plate on there, which is what I did, and we'll run it up here and bolt it where the front license plate was. Because in Indiana, we don't have to run a front license plate. Boom. And if you ever take it to a state where you need a front license plate, boom, stick it right there on the bumper. Or you can always go below the siren back there, but I would just stick it on the front bumper. Be fine. Just zip tie it right there if you ever have it in a state that needs a front plate. That's a get out of my way bumper right there. That's some steel. It's not going nowhere. So you can do that on patina bar. You can kick it like that, especially bumper that strong. It's not going to hurt it. But yeah, the only other thing to say about this chassis that I want to get out there real quick is, I know this is like a rambling video of how cool this truck is, but that's why you're watching it, because it's a cool truck. We're going to get up under the truck here. That's from my M37 Dodge. It's not from this truck that was parked in here before this truck. But if you look under here, it's all wood. Like I said, the bed floor and everything's all wood. But if you look here, what is this? Oh, this is angle iron. And yeah, the whole bottom of the truck has been coated for rust proofing. And we're going to keep after it on the rust because I want to preserve this thing for future generations. So what we're looking at right here, this is the back right here of the Chevy chassis built by Chevy. Right there. That's the chassis, which is a thick-ass chassis. That thing's huge. It's like a freaking bridge. Look at it. But that's the end of the chassis. It ends right here. But look at the truck. The truck continues. So what did this fire engine company do? They extended the frame with this angle iron. And honestly, it's strong as hell. They did a good job. And they even put like an up support here that goes up in here. They actually did a really good job supporting this thing. And God, just look at this for a second. Just look how many bolts there are in such a close proximity. That's just one of my hands. Same thing. There's a lot of bolts, is what I'm saying. They don't build them like they used to. They cared about this thing. There's just so many bolts and stiffening brackets and stuff. They really wanted this thing to last for being wood. They put all kinds of stiffening crap in it. But yeah. And of course, I got some wire mess because things have been added and changed over the years, like I said. So you got wires and stuff that are modern under here, but they're hidden. That's why they're on the bottom. So, and they put this cross piece again. They really wanted to stiffen this guy up. They wanted this truck to last because they knew they were going to use it for years to come. And where you can see the inner workings of this guy, we can see the massive brakes. They're like a wagon. They grab on the outside of the drum, not the inside. And we got this massive pumpkin. Look at that thing. Look at that rear end. I've seen rear end that big, I tell you what. And look at that. Freaking another, what is this bar? This is the factory Chevy spare tire holder. And they just left it there. That's what that is. So the spare tire would go on here. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I think it had something that held it up back here too. But that's clearly gone toward the back of the frame. I think there would have been another piece, but this is a part of the spare tire holder. It's still there. So, we'll look at the rest of the bottom of the truck. This video is already long. I don't really give a crap. So, if we look under this thing, we'll take this thing for a ride when it's done too. Look at that drive shaft. Holy smokes. It's a long one. It goes right up to there. There's a carrier bearing. And it goes past, this is the pump on the bottom of the pump. There's your petcocks for draining it. And right up to there, and there's the transmission. Right on the other side of the exhaust there. And there's your PTO shaft going into your pump. It just has a cherry bomb that some previous owner put on it. And I painted it black when we did the chassis because I just didn't want it to be red. I thought it would look better black. And I think I was correct. I'm probably going to do the rest of the exhaust in black header paint too, so it matches. That's it. Of course, they have a crank provision. This engine is huge for 1929. I would not want to crank this thing. Just like my Dodge Power Wagon, it's not Power Wagon, it's not civilian, M37. I don't want to crank that thing either. That thing's hard to crank, I bet. But this is a big 6, and that's why they call it that. I mean, look at the valve cover. It's by hand for comparison. And I don't really have any inline engines to compare it to. Do I? No. They're all flatheads. The only inline engine I got is this 1500cc Triumph. And that's not even going to be close to the same size as you can imagine. There you go. The engine's still warm because I just drove that to dinner. Anywho, that is the 29 fire engine. And I'm going to continue to take it to the car shows, cruisings, and parades and festivals and have fun with it. Let other people enjoy it. That's why I restored it, and that's why I'm going to continue to restore it and preserve it so that other people can enjoy it. Because it's just a great truck. It's just such a cool truck. And yet, see, there's your crank provision on the end of the crank right there. And then the front pulley balancer damper thing. We could probably fire it for a brief second without the water pump. It won't hurt it if I don't let it overheat, which I won't. So let's see if it fires. And then we'll end the video on that note. Just fucking loyal. I don't know what that was, but we're gonna shut off. That doesn't sound good. I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I want to know. Okay, I'll let you know if something bad happened, because we'll be fixing it. But, oh, I think that wrench just fell. Yeah, that wrench just fell. That's okay. That's not a bad thing. Fires right up. It's a great old truck. Love it. And I'm sure you do too. Maybe you'll see it around one day, because like I said, It's going to be going around to festivals and parades, all kinds of fun stuff for people to enjoy. Because I'm not selfish. I don't want to keep it locked away in a garage where no one can enjoy it. That's just not me. So, there you go. There you have it. 1929. And a quick message. Hey, uh, I know that all of us may or may not know, but Steve Bionte is in the hospital for brain infection. And I just got to say, fan of Steve, love his videos, love his show. Great show. But if you want to help him out, as far as I know, there's no GoFundMe or anything like that. But go over to his channel, watch his videos if you want to help Steve, because that is his primary source of income, and that is the best thing we can do right now for him. I've not said anything because I'm trying to give the family some privacy, but I want Steve to pull through because we all love his content, and he does a great job walking around old cars just like I just did, but he does it better than me because, let's be honest, it's Steve Bionte. He's way better at it than me. So, I want to see his videos again. And, he's a nice guy. So, we don't want to lose any good car people. So, yeah. I feel really, I really, I really didn't like to hear that he has to put up with this brain infection, but life sucks, I guess. We all got to go sometime. Let's just hope this is not his time. All right, that's it. Bye. I'm not doing a whole lot because I'm kind of in a rough patch right now. I'm really busy trying to make money and stuff, so maybe I'll put some stuff of what I work on to make money. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. But I mainly started doing this to, I wanted to share what I'm doing with other people because I'm doing stuff with cars that most people don't get to see in their lifetime. And I try to choose cars that I think are different and rare on purpose because they bring me the most joy. Because I don't like going to a car show and it's all Corvettes, it's all Camaros, it's all Mustangs. I want to go there and I want to have something that no one else has. And that's always been my goal in life, is to be different. So, hence 29 Fire Engine, hence 77 Tri Spitfire, hence Oldsmobile 98 convertible, on and on and on. That's why we collect what we collect. We choose rare cars on purpose. Anyways, just a little background on us. We like rare, weird and rare. The weirder and rarer the car is, the more interested I am in it. And that's how it works. I don't care about speed. I don't need to go fast. I have fun. I have more fun driving this at 30 than I do in a Lamborghini doing 200. So that's background on our philosophy here. And, drive what you want to drive. Collect what you want to collect. If you want to drive a Honda Civic, drive a Honda Civic. I have nothing wrong with that. But anyhow, I'm going to stop rambling on about crap that doesn't matter. You know what to do if you like this truck and you want to see work done on this truck or driving down the road. And the same goes for anything else you've seen. You like it, you know what to do.